Hello, and welcome back to the studio. I'm Dr. Wiggo, and today we're going to be looking at the first alert hardwired smart smoke and carbon monoxide alarm. Yeah, it's a smoke detector, but they're really important, which I'll talk about in a minute. Now, how this is going to go is first I'm going to talk about the Nest Protect smoke detector, which I had for the last 10 years. And I'll start off with a rant about Nest and Google's acquisition and all that. And so if you don't care about any of that, just skip on ahead. And then the next chapter, I'll talk about why I bought it. And it'll be because my Nest Protects died, but it's a little longer story than that. But if you skip over that, you can get to the actual unboxing, which won't be much of an unboxing. And then I'm going to go install one, and I'll film that, and then I'll come back and talk about how that all went. So let's get started. So let's talk about Nest first. I loved Nest. Now, Nest was co-founded by Tony Fadell, who was called the father of the iPod, and he worked on the first 3 generations of the iPhone. But he left Apple and co-founded Nest Labs in 2010, and their first product was the Nest Learning Thermostat in 2011. Great thermostat. I bought 2 Nest thermostats in 2011 in my old house, and when I moved to this house in 2014, I bought 2 more and replaced the thermostats. Love them. Love the Nest thermostat. Google acquired Nest in 2014 for $3.2 billion, so I really can't blame Tony Fadell and the rest of the guys for selling out, because $3.2 billion is a lot of money. If I had that kind of money, I wouldn't be making these videos. But after the Google acquisition, then Nest came out with the Nest Protect, which was the smoke and carbon monoxide detector. Another fine product. Worked with the same app, the Nest app. Oh, but this is where it gets ugly. Because it's Google, well, they had to start messing around, and so you had to use the Google Home app. I still use the Nest app. The Nest app still works, and that's what I still use, but it's kind of annoying that it's really not supported. But the thing is, smoke detectors have a 10-year lifespan. The little radioactive thing or whatever they use to measure the smoke dies out. So after about 10 years, they become worthless. Again, Google decided, well, we're not making any money off of these, so we'll just stop making those. So if you have a Nest Protect and it dies, yeah, you're out of luck. But they got another company to step in, First Alert, to make one that is plug compatible. So you can just pull out your Nest Protect and put one of these in, and I'll show you in a minute how easy that is. And you're good to go, except now you need another app, because now you need the First Alert app, which is actually by some other company. It gets so complicated. Google just keeps doing that. Google just keeps bringing out products, and then people love them, and then they stop making them, and they discontinue them, and I don't get it. Yes, I know it's a multi-billion-dollar company, but so you're only making a few $1 million. They add up. Yeah, I know. Well, that's my rant about Google ruining Nest. So let's move on to why I bought this. So why did I buy this? Well, I just told you in my little rant that Google discontinued the Nest Protect. So when mine reached their end of life and I had to replace them, I couldn't buy one. Now, the story is how they reached their end of life. I'm sleeping soundly in my bed a week or 2 ago, and all of a sudden, 4 a.m., beep! And it beeps every minute. But because it's every minute, it's hard to place. And I have all sorts of things in my house that beep. So I'm walking around my house in the middle of the night, just woken up. I can't find out what's beeping. I looked everywhere. I tried everything. It was horrible. I went and disconnected the alarm. I disconnected everything. Finally, the way I found it was I took the Nest Protects down off the wall and put them in the kitchen, and then the sound started coming from the kitchen. I went, oh, it's the Nest Protects. And yes, they had reached their 10-year end of life. For some reason, even though it's a smart thing that's connected to the internet, could tell me in the app, no, it has to beep every minute, forever. I was a bit annoyed, because it took me almost 2 hours to figure this all out and find out. And so by that time, and I had trouble going back to sleep. Yeah, you know the drill. So I'm already mad. And then when I go to replace it, I find out, well, you can't. Well, you can, but it's with this, the first alert. So that's why I bought these, because they're plug and play. It's the same mounting bracket, so you can just take off your Nest Protects and screw these on, and they have the same plugs. They have an adapter. You're about to see when I unbox it, and we might as well get into that because I don't really have a whole lot more to say about this. That's why I bought it. My smoke detectors reached end of life, and I needed new ones, and they didn't make them anymore, so I had to go with these. So let's see what's in the box. See, it says right here, works with Nest Protect. Wired. I already had the wires running in the house for my old smoke detectors that I replaced with the Nest Protects, and I'll use those same wires for this. And there it is. It looks like a smoking CO2 detector. It's got the button, and there's a light back there, and then there's a LED down here, and there's the speaker and microphone, I think. And there's the back, and you can see that's the plug that the Nest Protect uses, and then it has the same mounting thing as the Nest Protect, so this will just go right on where the Nest Protect was. And that's it. Now, there's a whole lot of other stuff in this box. We'll get to all the stuff in a minute. If you don't already have a smoke detector or one of these, it comes with a mounting bracket that you can install on the wall. And it has a wiring harness for if you're going to plug it in to existing wires coming out of the wall. If you have a existing wired, you can use this. But if you have a Nest Protect, it has this adapter that this plugs into this, and then this plugs into basically the harness that the Nest Protect came with. It ended in something that matches with this. So you'll plug that in there and then plug that in here. And they even got the little wire caps for if you're dealing with this guy, you can put the wire in, then some screws. And that's what's in the box. By the way, I love their recommended placement. One in every room. You should have one in every room. I think it's a bit overkill. I don't know, if you have kids, maybe that's important. But I have one upstairs and one downstairs, and that's all I think I need. By the bedrooms. They should always be by bedrooms. Now on the box here, it says, alerts home or away. It'll send an alert to the app if it goes off, so that if you're not even home, you'll know if there's smoke in your house. Has the quick connect plug I already talked about, hardwire interconnect. Hardwire interconnect, if you have multiple, like I'm going to have two, they will talk to each other. Voice alerts with heads-up warning. 2-in-1 protection. Battery backup. It's everything you need. Now, the booklets that come with, we have the Quick Start Guide. Tells you what comes with, what all the little lights mean, different colors of the LEDs. Requirements. First alert by Resideo. I said it was another company. So you download the app, and then the app walks you through the installation process. And then placement, again, put it in every room. Tells you what to do about corners and slanted ceilings. And then there's a bunch of stuff. Okay. That's not the interesting. The installation and reference manual, which again is a pamphlet, talks you about smoke alarms, where not to install, how to install, follow these steps. Interconnected units. When they're interconnected, if one goes off, it'll set all the other ones off that are connected to it. And I know my Nest Protects did that because they would both talk to each other. The number one feature of the Nest Protect was that it would tell me when the power went out. So if the power went out, I'd wake up with the power off, and you look at your phone, and it would say the power went out at whatever time it was. That was very handy. You can temporarily silence it, but wait, somewhere. Here we go. Silencing the low battery warning. But this one, you can turn off that chirp that woke me up. I think it was low battery, not end of life. But you can turn it off for 8 hours. And if I could have done that, I could have gone back to bed. Everything would have been fine. And when it's doing the end of life chirps, you can silence those for 2 days at a time. So you can have time to go get one and bring it in and not have to put up with all the chirping. Maybe the Nest did that too. I installed it 10 years ago. I don't have the manuals anymore. I don't Now I'm going to go install this bad boy downstairs. I'll film it. It's not going to be a lot to see. It'll be a very short video. I'm going to film it just so you can see how easy it is. And then I'll come back here and we'll talk about it a little more. And in the process of installing it, you'll get to see the app in action. And we'll come back and talk about that. I'll be back.
A few minutes later.
Sorry for the bad camera angle, but I had to get the thing in the picture. So what we're going to do is we're going to launch the app, which I've already installed. And you can see I already have the upstairs one installed, so I know what I'm doing. Well, as much as I ever know what I'm doing. So we're going to add a device, a smoke and CO alarm. You have to pull out the little thing. There's a little tab here, and when you pull that out, it lets the battery make a connection.
Welcome to your first alert smoke and carbon monoxide alarm. For English, press the button now. Ready to pair. Open the First Alert app and follow the instructions to connect your device.
See, it tells you what to do. Next, connect the device. So next is the blue light blinking. Yes. Then you scan the QR code on the back of the little thing. Connected. Next, we're going to call this downstairs English. Going to continue to call it downstairs. I'm understanding something about notifications. Next, that's connecting to my Wi-Fi. This may take a few moments. Registering device. About my device, I understand it's always monitoring. Checks at least once a day. I understand. Next. I'm not going to add any additional devices right now. Mount device. It's a wired device. Now, it says to turn the breaker off, which, if you're doing the wiring harness, absolutely turn the breaker off. But I'm doing the plug, and I don't think I'm going to elect myself plugging a plug into a plug. I'm replacing a Nest Protect. Remove the nest. Already done. Using the adapter. And it tells me to plug it in. So I got this in one hand. And it even says here on the back that the black wire goes at the top, so you know which way to plug it in. And it's locked. So I can say next. And now I need to plug it in up there. Upstairs was easier because I have lower ceilings up there. This is really hard to plug in. It's got this little thing that's got to jump up over to lock in. It's not locking in. Well, let's just hope it doesn't come unplugged. It's got the green light. So you push these wires up in here. Isn't this exciting? There we go. All plugged in. I needed a real ladder for that, but you know. So I've screwed it on. Next. Turn the power back on. Again, if you're using the wiring harness, you really should have turned the power off, but just plugging that plug in. I have finished mounting. Setup complete. They're all working. Upstairs, downstairs. Wired power restore using battery power. We use No alarm upstairs, no alarm downstairs. There's videos. I got all sorts, got the weather up here. So, that's all there was to it. Pretty easy. Well, if I can do it, you know it's easy. Okay, let's go back up and talk about it.
A little later.
And we're back. And that's how easy it is to install if you're replacing a Nest Protect and you already have the mounting bracket on and you have the little wire coming out so you can use the adapter. If you're starting from scratch, you're going to have to screw into the wall and put on the mounting bracket. Oh, and you'll have to use the wiring harness, so absolutely turn the power off while you're working with the wires and getting those all hooked up, and then turn it back on when you're done. But again, when you're replacing the Nest Protect, it's just a plug, so you don't have to worry about the power. Unless you're really paranoid. Not a Nest. Doesn't talk to the Nest app. It only talks to Google Home, which I don't use because I'm an Apple person. So Google Home's not for me, so I'll have to use its dedicated app. So now I have an app for this and an app for the thermostats, the Nest app. So it's not as good a solution. But the idea is you put these up and then you never think about them again until they start beeping 10 years from now. And then you think about them a lot because you can't sleep. I never even thought about them. Like I said, the main thing I used them for was checking when power outages started, because it would make a little thing in the app. It says power went out at, and give you the time. So that was my primary use of my Nest Protect. Well, other than protecting me from CO2 and smoke in my house, which never happened, so yay. So that is the First Alert SC5 hardwire smart smoke and carbon monoxide alarm to replace the Nest Protect. So if you're replacing a Nest Protect, you're good to go with these. Now, they're a little pricey, about the same as the Nest Protect. I mean, it's not that pricey. Over $100. Link down below. Sponsored link. I'm an Amazon associate now. I'm so excited. So that's the First Alert SC5. You saw installation was a breeze. It's really simple. The app walks you through it, and then once it's set up, like I said, you may never have to think about it again until something goes wrong. And we hope that doesn't happen. Next week, Vision OS 2.6, not 26, because there is no public beta. And I'm not on the developer list, so I only have 2.6, which just came out. But 26, which is coming out in the fall, is the cool one, but we won't be looking at that. But there's been a lot of stuff that's gone on in the Vision Pro since the last time I did a video, so come back for that next week. Subscribe even. So that's it for today. Thanks for stopping by. See you next time. Now I got to start playing with the Vision Pro and getting that video ready for next week. Thanks for staying to the end. Bye-bye.